you guys? The Curious Owl here, and today I have my September TBR. It's been a minute since y'all have seen this mug on the internet. I've been very, very busy. About the third week of August, I ended up getting a job that entailed me to start working in a school that was near my home, and that has been really taking up a lot of my time. In addition, this past week, the final week of August, I did get started with my first of several classes I will be taking to go and get my education to become a special ed teacher. And so it's just been very, very hectic, and that kind of has led me to this thing where in August I didn't really read a whole heck of a lot, but that'll be gone over in my August wrap up. Today I have a huge list of books that I'm hoping to get through, and I think that now I'm kind of in the swing of getting used to my schedule with work now and school, stuff like that. I think that this will be kind of manageable. We'll kind of see how the month goes, but I'm hoping for the best. You know, not expecting really anything, because I think if I expect the worst, that's going to make things even worse for me. So we have high hopes. Let's see what we get through. But I'm going to first go over the book club books I have going on for this month, because I do have 2 readathons I am going to be participating in. So first things first, the Witcher readathon is now done. If you had participated in the Witcher readathon, our last book was going to be Season of Storms. That's the last book in the series, but the live show for that will be this coming Saturday, so make sure that if you have not read Season of Storms to read that. But basically for the rest of the year, we're done. We're not going to be doing anything readathon wise from my channel's perspective as a group until 2025, which that is yet to be announced. You'll hear an announcement about what that's going to be closer to the end of 2024, getting into 2025. But for the book club between my mom, my sister, and I, we have decided to continue with our reading of Leigh Bardugo, since we were reading the Ninth House duology, and we decided to pick up her newest work, The Familiar. Not really sure what I feel about this necessarily. I think I'm going to like it. I've enjoyed Leigh Bardugo's adult writing, but I have heard hit or miss things on this one, so we'll kind of see. But this was something that we were thinking about reading before reading the Ninth House duology, but we decided to read that first and then decided to read this, since this is her newest work, and we're not sure if this is part of a series or if it's going to be a standalone of any kind. Okay, next we have the Witchathon year-long readathon, basically, that they're doing. For this month of September, we have to either do a genre that we have an abundance of, or book that is hauled. So this one, I basically did one that was hauled from my library, and I decided to go with Ellen Hilderbrand's Golden Girl. Finally, the last book club book, which is one I am going to have to figure out what to do with, because it's going to be The Ending Fire by Sarah El-Arifi, the final book in the Ending Fire trilogy. This does not, though, come out until September 10th, and I'm on a book buying ban, so I'm trying to figure out what exactly I would like to do with this, if I can break my book buying ban for this, or if I'm going to skip this month. This one's kind of up in the air because of the fact that I don't want to have to buy the book if I don't need to, but at the same time, you know, I'm like, you know, maybe I'll still get it or whatever. I don't really know. I'm kind of leaving this one up in the air, but this is one that I would like to add to the TBR if I can somehow get my hands on it through like my library or Libby or anything like that. Okay, so now we're going to get into the 2 readathons that I am doing. The first of which is the Aurelium readathon. My character Kaylin is going to be entering her final semester of this round of the Aurelium, and then we are going to be starting all the way back from scratch for the next spring equinox, which I'm very excited for. But this is Kaylin's last semester before she ends up going on this magical quest somewhere in the ether, basically. But the first thing is that we have the Guild Book Club book for the Order of the Crescent, which for this round is going to be Evocation by S.T. Gibson. This is one of my most highly anticipated books of the entire year 2024. I've had it sitting on my shelf for a minute. Very excited for this, considering how much I loved A Dowry of Blood, and I have heard some mixed reviews on this one as well, but I'm hopeful that I'm still going to really enjoy it, especially since it's got this very tarot inspired and like witchy inspired kind of thing going on with it kind of being symbolizing the Hanged Man tarot card. Now, the career that my character Kaylin is getting into is the Master of Elements, which requires a lot of reading. First of which is to complete elemental studies with a distinguished, which it means that I have to read 3 prompts for that class alone. The first one is to read a favorite scent that is in the title or the cover. For this, I went with the Jasmine Throne by Tasha Suri. I really love the smell of jasmine. It's very calming. It's very similar to how I feel with like lavender, for instance. So I've heard amazing things about this series in particular. I have heard that it is so fun and very much the vibes that you look for based on the synopsis. So I'm excited to see what this one is all about and whether or not I really enjoy it. Next, for the Elemental Studies group, is to read a book that is 100 pages longer than the last read. So the Jasmine Throne was 500 something, I think, if we're not including the acknowledgments and extra stuff at the back. It is 533 pages. So, if I'm not mistaken, the book I've decided to go with is The Good Daughter by Karen Slaughter, which is on my read it or unhaul it list for this year. I believe, yes, it is 638 pages. So it's just over 100 pages more than the Jasmine Throne. So these will work out perfectly. All I know about The Good Daughter, and like with most Karen Slaughter books, is it's a thriller of some kind. It has to do with like a family from what I understand, and it has to do with like a very broken family. Like there's one of the daughters that in this family that is like trying to piece things back together, and it like ensues this huge like uncovering of secrets and stuff like that. So I've enjoyed Karen Slaughter's books in the past, but it's been a while since I've gotten to her. So I'm really trying to find authors I'm interested in continuing with and interested in reading more of their work. So this is why I was on that kind of read it or unhaul it list for this year. But I am excited to be able to get into this one because I have heard that out of Karen Slaughter's books, this one is probably one of her best, if not the best book out of what she's written. Finally, for the Elemental Studies class, we have to read a book with sparks on the cover to reach the distinguished idea. And for this, I went with Daughters of Nuri. I consider basically all of this orange stuff like basically embers, and like the very top up here to be very much kind of like sparks, kind of like how fire has it. Because even if like you look really close at the cover, it kind of has that little like sparkling aspect that like fire does when it like pops off of like the wood and stuff. Again, I've heard amazing things about this. It is written by a Nigerian person who is the daughter of immigrants, and so like I think this has a lot to do with that. So very excited for this. I believe Bree and Brandy both have read this and said that they really enjoyed it, so I have high hopes. Okay, moving on to my next class, which is shapeshifting. I only need to complete one book for shapeshifting, and that is to read a book with jewelry on the cover or the title. For this, I decided to go with Kill Her Twice by Stacey Lee. As you can see, she's got a huge earring on, and then also there is this like diamondy necklace here. This to me gives like film noir vibes, and I think that is kind of the idea because it is placed in the 1930s in Los Angeles, and so there's like a mystery surrounding around it, and like I'm here for the vibes. It's giving some strong vibes that I'm picking up, and I'm very excited for this. Now for the next class that I have, which is Animal Studies, I also only need to read one book for that, which is to read a book with either a phoenix on the cover or title. This one I went with a book that is on my Kindle, and that is called Omega Phoenix Claimed. It took me a long time to find something that was Phoenix related in any way with any of the books that I have borrowed or that I had. It took a long time to find this. So all I know is it's a paranormal Phoenix romance of some kind. I don't know. We'll see how I like it. Next, for the astronomy class that I have to take, I only need to read one book, and that is to read a book released in my birth month. For this, I went with The Hidden Girl and Other Stories by Ken Liu. This is technically an anthology, but one of the stories that is involved in this anthology was published in my birth month of July. So I did decide to count it because I couldn't find anything else like within my immediate vicinity that did have that. And finally, the last class that I have is Restoration. But for this, I need to read two books. The first one is to read a book with the night sky on the cover, which for this, I went with S.A. Cosby's All the Sinners Bleed. I've been meaning to get to this one for a couple months now, and I've been holding on to it for a long time, so it's about damn time that I get to this one is all I'll say. And the last book that I need to read is to read a book with a poisonous plant on the title or in the cover. And for this, I went with another Kindle book that I have, which is called The Mistletoe Game. Mistletoe is actually very poisonous. If you eat it, it is not meant to be eaten. So do be careful with it around Christmas time if you use it. But yeah, so that's another romance or at least cozy mystery of some kind. I don't remember. But yeah, there's that. And finally, the last readathon I'm going to be participating in is the Mammon Round for Witchathon. This is a 1 week readathon where we're trying to read as many books as we can within it, and there are 3 prompts specifically that I would like to try to get through. The first one is to read a book that has a character that is away from their loved ones for a long period of time, and for this I went with a library book that I have from Deanna Raybourn, which is one of Deanna Raybourn's, I think, first sets of books, but it is Dark Road to Darjeeling. I loved Killers of a Certain Age by Deanna Raybourn, and when I saw that this was another book at my library, I snatched it up real quick. This one follows a woman who is pregnant, and her husband basically sends her to his family in India from London, and unfortunately he does die while she is away, and she's trying to basically reconnect with his side of the family, but there's a lot of mystery surrounding around his death and surrounding the family that she's visiting, so there's a lot to be said about the fact that this is going to be something where she may not get out of this alive. And the fact that she's pregnant makes it all the more worse. Next is to read a duology. So for this, I went with a recent duology that I was recommended by several people that especially will really give me those beautiful mermaid vibes that I've been looking for when it comes to any kind of mermaid fantasy. And that is Skin of the Sea and Soul of the Deep by Natasha Bowen. I have heard so many good things about this series. It's super short, both books, so it's going to be a very fast read. And I have just been wanting to get into this ever since I picked these books up. And yeah, I'm excited to crank through this probably in like a weekend if I have the ability to. I think this would be very easy to do. And finally, the last prompt is basically the color prompt, which is to read a book that has the colors associated with the different sabbats. This one, there are a plethora of colors to choose from, including orange, red, yellow, brown, copper, dark yellow, and dark green. So for this one, I went with kind of somewhere in the middle of the road. It's almost like an orangey yellow of sorts, but it is going to be Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll. I've heard really good things about this book, how it is very much like kind of a literary fiction of sorts, but like it's really hard hitting and it's really like eye-opening for a lot of reasons, and this is placed in like the late 70s, so I think there's going to be a lot of stuff in here that's going to be very misogynistic because, you know, it's about women, but in this time women were still, you know, trying to fight for, you know, their ability to kind of be in the spotlight in the sense of like outside of the family and being able to do their own thing. So this is probably going to be one that's going to make me a little angry at times, but it will be worth it. So yeah, that is what I'm going to do for the color prompt. Okay, so with all of that, well, that did not go as planned. Put these back. Yeah, apparently I cannot pick that up. But anyway, those are all the books that I'm planning on reading in this month, along with the 2 Kindle books that I'm planning on reading. I'm gonna try to see if I can get The Ending Fire through like my library or something, because I know that they have the other 2 books in the series, but it also takes a long time for those books to come through like as new releases, so I'm concerned of like how I'm going to get that one, if I'm going to end up reading that in the month at all. So we're going to kind of put The Ending Fire on like a back burner kind of thing. Like if I can get to it, that's great. If not, it's not the end of the world kind of thing. But I would like to try to be able to get it if I can. But otherwise, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 books for the month of September. God help me. Pray for me, please. But anyway, that is it for today. Thank you guys so much for joining me in this video. If you guys did enjoy it, please do give it a big thumbs up. And if you haven't already and you'd like to be and would like to see more content like this, go ahead and hit that button down below and subscribe to become an owlet in our flock. And I will see all of you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.